Hi, everyone. David.
And Richard here.
And we meant to get this out last week. So our update is about stuff that happened last week. We're going to
Yep.
have another update this week. Things are actually moving really quickly.
Yep.
But the stuff we're going to talk about Wednesday, Thursday, whenever is totally different.
Yep.
We want to talk about three things today. First, let's start with Stack
Yep.
because we have a bunch of updates.
Yeah. So I mean, Stack, the blogging and really a publishing platform, has been out for a little while now. We've been working on various aspects of the UI with some feedback and also internal use, experiencing with that.
Yeah.
So I think the writing and editing is quite a bit smoother. I've been copying and pasting. I tend to write in Markdown, so I like to paste that in. Other people like to write in the UI itself, so we're kind of
Mhm.
making sure all those workflows are really, really smooth.
The
Uh,
current version actually doesn't have the latest updates. I think Saito Web 3 flagged image issues. Those are
yep,
fixed. We had some issues with Markdown, which are
yep,
fixed. We had saving and loading. Like if you didn't publish a piece and you came back and you clicked on it, formatting could disappear. There's a bunch of fixes in. We're waiting for them to go live on production. We're held up by an NPM update on our Rust pipeline
hmm
because we need the Rust update to work to get this stuff in. But this will happen this week. So
yep,
if you came to us with feedback about Stack, if you came to us with complaints, thank you.
yeah.
Huge
And
help.
a really nice thing that happened. So I was helping one of the node runners test Stack on his node, and I threw up just a quick hello world there with an account I had on that node.
Mhm.
Then I thought I'll just check it's properly, publishing and federating across all the nodes. So grabbed the URL and just changed cytonl.net to cyto.io, and bang, there it is. And I think it's those little moments that are really cool where you get an absolute proof of one of the things we keep talking about
Yeah,
that are the basis of why we built this, right? The
yeah,
publication is there irrespective of the platform that's showing it to you. So
yeah,
you can't be like, if one of those two platforms decided that they didn't want to show my post and they
yeah,
blocked me off, there'd still be the other one, and I could
yeah.
bring up my own node to show that
Or
post
you
to
bring up
people
your own node
if
and do it. Yeah.
if
I
that's what I
want
needed to do.
because we got a bunch. I want to mention that the biggest issue that isn't fixed that actually is fixed now is loading times on caching. I think were a problem.
Yeah,
And the
they were.
reason for that is you fetch the HTML that has the Saito JS. You download the Saito JS. It boots up. It starts saying, "Oh, wait a minute! I'm in the Substack module. I need
Yeah,
this blog post." It starts making requests to get the blog. Blog posts can be big, especially if you're syncing the chain. It can be slow.
yeah,
That's getting fixed.
yeah,
So right now, if you're, it kind of feels a bit experimental because sometimes the download speeds can be slow. It's going to be a lot faster.
yeah,
That update will come in with all of these other updates this week. We'll mention in our next update to confirm that it's live.
yeah,
But if you're doing publishing, you're doing that kind of testing, please continue with it. We'll let you know when the update's out because it's really kind of phenomenal to use, and we want to continue to make it better. Because every
yeah.
blog post someone writes and shares is an advertisement for the future of Web3 as far as we're concerned.
Yeah, and it's a little bit of our moment in the sun as well with the big Substack hack and stuff that's happened. It like this
Mm.
is just at the right time to show you why you want to be keeping control of your
Yeah.
content and not like handing out personal data
Use
to
a
random
private
people.
key that you don't give to Substack. Yeah.
Right.
Um,
Well, that's the if a hacker
yeah.
comes in, all they can find is your posts,
Yeah.
which were
So,
public.
so one of the funny things we said we're going to give you an update for last week.
Mm.
This stuff with Stack, it's kind of almost 2 weeks old because we had the Stack
Yeah.
release, and last week we were fixing some stuff. It's just a bit delayed in release because of these NPM pipelines.
Yeah.
Next thing we should tell you about is the admin module. This is
Yeah.
responsible for some of the NPM slowdowns. Um, the admin module previously was JavaScript. It's supposed to, here's your server information. It's a visual UI. We've
Yeah.
been using it to simplify the install process, right? So if you go to the wiki, you click install, the instructions are super simple now, and they stop at go to your server. And when it goes to your server, you're in the admin module.
Yeah.
And so the idea is that configuring your server, we can automate it. it's now super easy to understand what Saito is and what modules you're installing and uninstalling. There's the admin UI.
Yep.
We are adding networking layer visibility. So you can go to the admin module anytime and you can see what nodes are connected to you. This is what is requiring the Rust layer update. We're
Yep.
actually refactoring and reorganizing how the Rust networking stack stores peers, stores congestion routing policies, so that we can expose that to the UI. And the node operator just looks at the website and it's
Yeah.
painless.
So I think there's really two sides to this. I mean, obviously, it's about helping people who want to get
Mm.
developing, particularly anyone who wants to vibe code up a new module or whatever, have
Yeah.
a super simple way where they can follow a couple of little instructions, and then they've got a GUI to take them
Yeah.
through getting their module running, administering
Yeah.
things, and later on, if they want to publish it out onto their own node, the same thing. And then for
Yeah.
node runners, Saito's all about thoughtfully deciding which peers you want to connect to, etc. And over time,
Mhm.
like who you're routing with and stuff will be much, much more important.
Yeah.
So this is getting all the base layer in there, as well as just making it really, really easy
Mhm.
to get the node set up, running how you want, and then
Yeah.
say, okay, it's ready to go. I can now connect it to prod network, to mainnet, and,
Yeah.
and get
Like here's some of the new changes is you go to the admin module now, the first thing it does is it says set the admin key. You click the button to set it, it's going to back up the key for you. So you don't lose access to the server regardless. But then it goes to a second page and says, okay, well, look, what do you want to be your default application?
yeah,
And I believe it gives you that option. And then it says big, and do you want to run a local development server or do you want to join the production network? And if you click local development server, it actually does a lot of great work behind the scenes. And when it comes back, it not only has your server configured, so people don't need to use the configuration modules, but it will say, look, here are 10 private key, public key matches that have tokens in them.
yeah,
So if you are a developer developing apps, there's this usability chasm that existed before where you could set up the server, but you don't have Saito.
yeah.
And a lot of the functions and features that we're working on and that people want to
It,
run.
it basically launches a little mini test net on your own laptop for you. It's a good way to understand it. So you've got all of the features you need, including tokens, so that you can do things like work
Yeah.
with NFTs.
You can send tokens to your server. You can, you can set up a store and use them to be buying and selling. It's part about speeding up development
Yeah,
and getting a lot of you're starting a technical project like Saito earlier on when it's under heavy development, the configuration files are rapidly changing
yeah,
because the product's approaching maturity and we're growing the network and growing usage and these, it's like scripting level improvements.
yeah,
We're able to lock it down and the install process is getting easier.
yeah, definitely.
So the admin module, that's happening.
Yep.
Maybe in a week or two, we'll be able to get the networking tab showing peers. It depends on the Rust work.
Yeah, it's still useful now for the local dev stuff. It's going to get more and more useful for node runners as we get peer management in there as well.
If you're a node runner and you're using it already, like with Stack, send us hate, or you can send me personally hate. I'm going to try to fix it. I'm trapped between this guy and Sanka and Dan.
Yeah,
Everyone's like, oh,
yeah. So
okay.
the last thing we wanted to cover was done a whole lot of work as well on the NFT side of things.
Atomise.
So I think, I'll let David take away Atomise because he's been the chief architect there.
Okay, I've been working on this. People know in other networks, your NFTs made rich. Congratulations. You go to Pump Fund on Solana. Okay, it's a token. You can now buy and sell it, and anything you're going to do with that token is pointless and offsite. But I can go and click and watch some peep video. That's like what you do on Pump Fund, apparently. Our NFTs are so much better. And they're fractional, but they're not fractional with a smart contract. They're fractional the way Bitcoin is fractional.
Yeah.
And this creates some structural problems with us because go to Substack. We're going to have time-based subscriptions. This is the NFT. This is the Substack features that are coming in when the NPM stuff is updated and we've got the caching working step by step. If you want to create subscriptions, you don't want to manually create a subscription and send it to someone. And if you create like 100 or 1,000 and you want to put them up on the store, well, you don't want to sell 100 to one guy. So One of the things that we've been doing is we've been working on the back end chain, and this again, it goes all the way from from Rust in the back end to JavaScript that provides ways to programmatically fractionalize NFTs.
Yeah.
So if you're listing something on the store can say, did you want to sell one unit of 100, or did you want to sell 100 different
But
units? Like, tell
yeah,
me so I know what I'm selling here. We
yeah,
call this Atomise. That functionality is now into the NFT overlays, which means it's working in Rust. So
yeah,
you can create an NFT with 100 units. You could fractionalize it into 100 1 unit NFTs. You can merge it back to 100.
yeah,
These are the kind of tools we've been working on this week. You can see when the new, or last week, when the update finally happens with this NPM fix, you're going to see it live on Chrome. And what that unlocks for us is a lot of the higher use cases with sales, with the store, uploading subscriptions, uploading NFTs. You
yeah,
can create a batch of 1,000 NFTs and you can click a button, they'll be fractionalized or atomized, and then you say, these are the ones I want you to sell.
yeah,
So
yeah. It,
this sort of thing. And the same with Substack, the same with Vault. You can create a Vault key and you can fractionalize it so there's now 1,000 people who have access to this
yeah.
file, right?
Or you've got 50 tickets to the file, and you can hand them out
Mm.
as you see fit. Or there's
Yeah,
there's a bunch of different models, but it just makes that a lot more functional than having to chop up the NFT and then list it one by one for
yeah,
sale or whatever,
yeah.
or just have your whole wallet like
Yeah, or
you know,
manually do it,
done that.
right? Because that it also forces everybody to be online to handle these transfers. It's kind of like 10 years ago with Bitcoin. You'd meet a guy in a bar and you'd make the transfer because there's no programmatic execution. There's no way for the networks to even do it.
Yeah,
So that's happened. It may not seem like it's a big deal. It's supporting infrastructure for all of the stuff that's coming out.
yeah,
So it really matters for the store. Work is still underway on that. It matters for Substack. Work is still underway on that.
yeah,
It doesn't really matter for admin, I guess.
yeah, yeah,
But anything that's NFT related, Atomize is important.
yeah.
So those are the three areas last week we wanted to tell you about.
Yeah. So I think one last thing, just because we add as well, is keep your eye out for Saito spaces. We've been making, I think, some great gains in the space in the industry by having much more, I think, meaningful and interesting spaces, generally covering different aspects of Web3,
Mm.
open internet concepts, etc., like privacy, etc. Rather than the Saito spaces are not the classic crypto, like each project announces themselves, does a quick shell, and then they all read their chat GPT prepared
Mm.
answers to the questions. We've been getting in some real depth, and we're looking at getting some really great guests from around the place as well, and I think that's going to be really interesting. So make a note to have a look out for announcements of those and maybe attend. Let us know what time zones work for you as well, because we're tending to hit Europe at the moment, but
Yeah.
we know there's citizens everywhere. And I think you'll see overall we're kind of raising our game in that space. And I think we've been getting a lot of attention recently because we've been being Saito. We've kept being ourselves. And in this market and
Mhm.
this moment, it feels like a lot of things are coming together for us. So that's also really cool that that's happening.
I should mention this too. I don't remember when exactly we got the Beyond Hurwitz paper out. Was that 2 weeks ago?
2.5 weeks ago, yeah.
So that's on archive. I want to share this because if anyone is into economics or mechanism design, it's an important and it's a useful piece. And the reason it's important is it explains exactly how Sato solves the problem from the perspective of what is the strategy. And there's
Yeah.
interesting things happening here. I got an email from someone I'd written in December with a follow up, which was very interesting. And they said, well, your model, it looks like you're doing something different in a model. Our model assumes this. And it was very interesting because I was able to send them the paper and I said, well, that's why you're finding impossibility. Because if you look at this paper, you're assuming that this thing is always an attack, whereas there are some forms of this, collusion and cooperation,
Mm.
that you need to exist in order to get the
Yeah.
outcome you're trying to study. Really counterintuitive, but it's interesting because the paper connects on that level. If you know people who are academically mechanism design or distributed consensus, it's a useful and interesting paper to share with
Mm.
you. It goes down to something that's very, very fundamental. One way to help us is share that piece, and you can share it with people and say, "Is this wrong? Like,
Mm.
what is wrong with it?" And you might get a response back that says something. If you do, share it with me, and I'll give you help on communicating with them. But the more people that we have that are aware of the fundamental problem, the easier it gets for us to do
Yeah.
network development, get people excited, and get visibility in the space as well. Because this
Yeah.
is an area where I think things will change in the next couple of years.
Definitely. Cool.
So,
Should we wrap it up there?
yeah,
All right. Thanks, everyone. We'll get this up online, I hope, in the next
we'll,
hour or so. And
we'll let you know what's happening this week, later this week.
later.